Welcome to this week's strength training for runners. This week we're going to be looking at some spine health. So it's going to start off with just figuring out a few basics, learning to relax and find open up the ribs, open up the pelvis. Then we'll have a look at moving our spines in different ways. So for starters, we're going to come down onto the back and we're going to do some breathing drills. Just to very quickly explain about breathing. As we take an inhale, basically it's very simple mechanics. We have a diaphragm and a pelvic floor. As we take an inhale, the inhale starts from the diaphragm flattening, which draws the air in. That flattening diaphragm then pushes all of the internal organs down into the pelvis. The pelvic floor lengthens to absorb those. And then as we exhale, pelvis floor domes, then so does the diaphragm, and then the air is pushed out. So it's this lovely system. So whenever we're thinking about breathing, it's almost impossible not to bear in mind the pelvic floor, because otherwise, if there's a place where we're holding tension, then we're not going to be able to let this flow happen between the pelvic floor and the diaphragm. So the inhale is just as important as the exhale. We need to nail the inhale first, and then we can think about creating tension with the exhale. So onto the back. Hands coming onto the ribs. Now I like to place my thumbs round the sides because really where we want to think about breathing is into the side of our ribs, okay? So we want to the back, the side, and also up at the chest here. We do not want the breath to come open to the ribs here and make us flare. So hands on the ribs, and we're just going to take 5 silent inhales in through the nose, and then we're going to exhale by blowing out through the straw. And I want you to, for these breaths, think about where that air is going. The air should be coming in through the nose. Think about that diaphragm flattening. Then imagine the pelvic floor lengthening on that inhale. Then as we exhale, we should feel the pelvic floor lifting, and then the ribs should start drawing down. Okay, tension will be created through our sort of abdominal area. Right, off we go. So inhale through the nose, long silent inhale. Nice and relaxed around the necks and shoulders. At the end of the inhale, pause. And then we're going to start that exhale as if you're blowing through a straw. Pause at the end of that exhale. And then slowly let that inhale come back in through the nose. Okay, for this exhale, we're going to create a little ant's path underneath our lower back, and then we're going to exhale. And I don't want that exhale, that ant's path to, I don't want you to press your spine into the floor. I want you to stay long in the spine, keep that S-shaped spine. Okay, coming back into our inhale. Smooth, a little pause at the top, and then a nice smooth exhale out. Pause. And then start drawing in that inhale. And as you're doing these breaths, you keep on going. As you're doing these breaths, you should start to feel this expansion with that inhale, expansion in the ribs, expansion in the pelvis. And then with the exhale, you should start to feeling that this drawing down of the ribs, all drawing in and together, and the pelvic floor lifting, and then the abdominals you should start to feel a bit of tension through the abdominals as well. Okay, last breath there. Next, we're going to come into pelvic tilts. So still on our backs, all I want you to do is place your fingers on your hips, and I want you to tilt your pelvis away from you. Okay, so tilt the pelvis away. As I come into this end range position, I can feel my pelvic floor is relaxed, my glutes are relaxed. In fact, my whole body is relaxed. All that's happened is my hips have reached away from me. Okay, this time now I want you to pull the pelvis back, hips back towards you. And with that, I feel my lower back starting to push into the floor. Okay, but my glutes are off, they're off, my pelvic floor is off, and my abdominals are off. Okay, we're going to reach away again with the hips. Reaching, 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 reaching. Now, even if you have only a small amount of range in that, that is your range. So you don't need to worry. Just keep on working through these pelvic tilts. So we come forward. You can take an inhale there. Just make sure you've got full length. And then we're going to draw it back. And we're going to feel everything. But my pelvic floor is not on. If I take an inhale here, I can relax my pelvic floor. Okay, coming away again. Reaching the hips. Now, a little challenge for this one. See if you can keep your ribs back on the floor and yet still tilt your pelvis forward. You'll probably lose quite a lot of range here, but what you'll start to get there is actual movement in your, rather than finding an anterior tilt by extending your spine, what you'll find is that you can actually tilt your pelvis forward separately to your ribs flaring. So we're just going to do a couple more just here. And these are really, I mean, everything is nice and relaxed here, okay? As I'm coming into these, like my body feels very, very relaxed. I feel very relaxed. There's no breath involved. I'm literally just tilting my pelvis back and forth. Okay, really, really nice exercise. But as I said, trying to keep the ribs back as we tilt the pelvis forward is another really nice way to get like genuine pelvic tilt, anterior tilt at the front. Okay, and really nice way to move in a different way. So just a couple more here. Just really check you're not like jerking through these movements and not really experiencing like the whole range. Okay, we want to be able to just almost rock the pelvis like it's like a bowl tipping forward and a bowl tipping back. And everything is really heavy and relaxed in my body. Okay, next up, we're going to do some rolling. So we're going to reach the left arm out to the side. I'm just going to move my mat over so you can see. So the left arm's out to the side. And all I'm going to do is, and in fact, I'm going to put both arms out to the side. Now from here, I'm going to take my right arm and I'm going to curl it up, okay, and bring it into my chest. I'm going to walk my fingers across my chest, down my arm, and with it, it's now starting to take my ribs, okay? Everything is really heavy on the floor, reaching with this top arm, and it's almost, this arm is pulling us over in a really relaxed way onto the floor. Okay, I call this relaxing like a bag of water. We're going to use the top leg to pull us back and slouch, like almost like roll through it. Okay, off we go again. Hand rolls in, slowly like grazes across the chest, walks down the other arm, pulls us across. This can be quite difficult. On the other side, it's a completely different experience for me. And then rolling and then dropping. Okay, so we talked about this ability to like properly relax. We're just going to do two more here. Roll the hand in, graze the fingers across the chest, run them down the arms, reaching away with that top arm until the whole body follows it over. And then coming back again. Okay, last one here. I want you to imagine you're just a bag of water flopping around. Hand comes in, we graze the arm across the chest, the hand across the chest, down the arm, really gentle movement, reaching, 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 and then rolling from here. Okay, round onto the other side. Reaching, 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 turning, pulling, 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 and then over we come. Coming back again. And then we're going to roll, 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 roll. And there's two. And then we're just going to come over this side again, grazing those hands down as we come. For three. Rolling down the mat. Gently rolling my hands across the front of my chest. And four. And then just last one here. So really imagining yourself like a bag of water or a bag of sand. You're just so heavy and relaxed. Over you come, big reach, and down we come. Okay, so three really, really great drills there, okay? Learning to relax is a huge part of overcoming lower back pain. Okay, so next you're going to need your chair. So we're going to sit on the chair. We're going to take the feet slightly wide. Now in this first position, I want you to find your sitting bones in this top position. And then we're going to place the hands between the legs. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to drop the chin down. Okay, so drop the chin towards the chest. And then we're going to take an inhale. And then with the next exhale, we're going to slowly roll down. Now imagine yourself like a snail, okay, curling down. We're going to pause after, I don't know, a couple of inches, take an inhale. Really nice and relaxed. And then we're going to reach down towards the floor. Now, don't let the sitting bones come off the bench. I want you to keep the sitting bones firmly pointing to the floor. Okay, so we're getting really nice length through the spine. Take an inhale here. And then we're going to exhale down again. Reaching, 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 reaching. So keeping the fingers pointing to the floor directly beneath you. Make sure your chin is staying tucked. Taking another inhale in. Try and make that as big as possible. You'll feel the bigger the inhale, the bigger the stretch through your back. And then we're going to exhale and slowly come down a little further. Take another inhale again. And then down we come again. Now, if you know how to relax your pelvic floor, okay, when you take those inhales, it can feel really good. Make sure your chin's tucked, your sitting bones are back. Take that nice inhale again. And then roll back up again. Okay, we're going to place the hands onto the outside of either side of one of your legs. I've gone for the right. Tuck the chin, and then we're just going to do the same thing over here. Keep that chin tucked. Really imagine yourself like trying to be like a snail shell. For me, this is a very nervy feeling, actually. I feel like some really strange sort of like, it's, you know, releases all around my pelvis. Make sure you keep that sitting bone to the floor. Then I'm going to push up. Then I'm going to say, and when I say nervy, it's not like I get numbness in my body. What I feel is like I can feel it sort of the stretch happening all around that space. It doesn't feel like just a muscle tissue. It feels like a really lovely like opening of or release of all sorts of things. So if you get numbness or any kind of tingling, you've probably gone too far. It might not be the exercise for you. Okay, rolling down and then coming down. And then just the last one here. Make sure you've got those sitting bones. And really reaching away from the opposite side. Make that stretch really lovely. And then we're going to come up to the top. Okay, so the opposite to spinal flexion is spinal extension. So that's what we're going to look at next. So we're going to come back down onto the mat. Here. Okay, and we're going to lie on our front this time. Now, my toes are tucked. Again, I'm nice and relaxed and heavy, and I'm going to place my hands in front of me. Now, I'm going to make a little triangle out of my hands like this. Okay? Hands flat on the floor. Now, for a lot of people, they'll feel this in their lower back, and that's because they're not thinking about where we're trying to get this extension, okay? When we did the pelvic tilts earlier, we did that spinal extension where we stopped the spinal extension by keeping the ribs on the floor. Okay, this is a very similar type of thing. What we're trying to do this time is we're trying to open up it's like more the thoracic spine than it is the lower back, okay? So if you feel lower back in this, you're probably coming too high and you're trying to lift yourself off the floor too high, okay? So I've got my eye line to my hands, my elbows are reaching away, okay? And then all I'm gonna do is use my hands to try and pull my ribs forward, okay? So I'm getting length through my abs, loads of length through my abs, also getting a bit of flexion through my spine. Now, this doesn't need to feel like a massive stretch. It just needs to, if we have spinal flexion, we want to make sure we can also extend our spine. Okay, so keep on dragging those ribs, pulling on the hands. Imagine you're trying to like pull yourself forward, okay, using the floor. You could take some inhales in here. Now I'll give you some even bigger stretch through the abs, and we're just going to stay here for a moment. Again, nice and relaxed. If we fight, we're not fighting tension with tension. We're trying to relax and come and find length and movement and mobility in our spine. Just one more breath just here. Okay, next, now we can come into, in fact, let's do some little hinges while we're in this position just to find some stretch. So coming onto all fours, hands slightly forward of the shoulders, you spread the fingers out really nice and wide. In this position, I want you to find a stack, so that's ribs and pelvis should be sort of like on top of each other, but obviously in an all fours position. So think a long S-shaped spine, okay? Shoulders reaching away from the spine as well. So just really like this position is quite, I'm positioned carefully in this. Okay, so long spine. Now nothing changes between the tip of the head and the bottom of the pelvis. And all we're going to do is we're going to sit back. Okay, nothing's changing in my stack. The sitting bones are staying high. And I'm getting a ton of length through my glutes, and also quite a lot of, I'm actually feeling quite a lot around my, the front of my hip flexors. So reaching with those sitting bones. A bad rep of this would be to tuck the pelvis under and use the lower back to get this sitting position. Okay, I see it all the time, people using their lower back as like, instead of opening up their glutes. So only come as far as you can. Sit back, push, use the hands, push through the hands to find that length and those glutes. Take a nice long breath at the end. See if you can relax the pelvic floor, breathe into the pelvic floor. And then we're going to come back up. Now, when I talk about pelvic floors, just in case anybody's uncertain, men and women both have a pelvic floor, so both genders need to be able to relax them. Okay, coming back, sitting back into it, taking that nice inhale. Just into there. You can really reach away with the hands and get a nice stretch through your shoulders. Oh, I've gone too far. My sitting bone's starting to tuck. Reaching, pushing through the floor, and then coming back up. And we're just going to do last rep here. So sitting bones stay high. Okay, pointing backwards, reaching away. And then we're going to push back up. Okay, sorry, I should have said you're also going to need a brick. Just need a brick for this. So, or you can use like a couple of books or something. And we're going to place the brick underneath one of the knees. Now I'll show you actually if I come onto the left one first of all. Now, this block under this knee, okay, my weight is entirely on this knee with the block. Okay, the other leg is pretty free and relaxed. From here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly, using the push through the knee on the block, lift the opposite hip up. Now, very common in this is that people they'll sort of pull the leg out to the side. So here, so they'll come up on the block and they'll try and create this by lifting this leg out, which you can see doesn't really change the pelvis. I want you to keep the distance between the knee and the thigh all the way up the same. See how high you can take it and then lower it back down. So we get length through the outside, shortening through the inside, push through that knee. And then you might get groin on the free side and glute on the left, on the block. So we're going to do about 8 of these here, okay? This is getting our pelvis moving. Often sticky backs don't have a pelvis that moves well. So that's 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and last one here and 8. Just make sure you're really heavy on that knee with the block. That's the best cue. Okay, same on this side. Take our time and off we go for 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. Really take your time. Make sure that those knees are staying same distance apart and that you're staying heavy in that right knee on the block. Really, really heavy. So finding that length, then drawing that left leg bone back into the pelvis. And then just last one here. And 1. Okay, we're going to come back into some of those little sit backs again. So sitting bones high, reaching back. Now I should have said as well, make sure that to get into this you aren't flaring the ribs. Keep the spine long. Sitting bone stays high. And for 1. And we're just going to do 5 here. And 2. And 3. And 4. And last one here. Really sitting back into that, find that length. And 1. Right, for the next thing, what you're going to need is your stick. Okay, where is my stick? Okay, so we come into kneeling position just here. I like to use a little thing for under my knee. And for 2 reasons actually. I like to put it there because it helps me level up my pelvis, but I also like it because it's padded under my knee. Okay, so we're going to place the stick behind the shoulder, behind the neck. And all we're going to start off with is turning is lengthening through the side from side to side. Okay, really this shouldn't be intense, this should be quite nice and relaxed. And 1. Okay, so really nice and relaxed, just rocking and rocking side to side. We'll do a couple more just here. And then last one here. This time we're going to reach the arms up high and we're going to do the same thing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the stick around the neck. We're just going to do some rotations just here. Now let the pelvis roll with this, okay? My pelvis turns away and turns into that leg as I come back and forth. It's not far off what we were doing just now with the with that little hip shift when we draw this pelvis back in to the leg, okay? And you'll start to feel your groin moving. Okay, the knee doesn't really, well I guess the knee moves slightly, but it's more about the spine almost winding up that leg into the pelvis. Okay, and last one here. Switching round onto the other side, so we start off with our side to sides here. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and last 2 here, 5 and 5. Then we reach the stick up to the sky for 1. Now with this, try and keep the shoulders and arms away from the head. Okay, so often I'll see like an arm coming over and not a head. We want the whole body experience. We want the ribs coming out to the side and finding that length through the side. The last one here. And then we're just going to come into these rotations. 1, 2, 3. And last one here. And 8. Okay, we've got 2 more exercises. The first one we're going to be lying on our side. Okay, with our knees, with a fist between the knee here. Then we reach the arm away. Now don't let these knees change. This is all about the upper half of our body. So we really pin the hips stacked on where they are. We're going to draw a big circle round with the arm, all the way to the bum. And then we're going to come back again, reaching as far forward as we can. So my sternum is pointing to the floor and then to the sky. Make sure your knees are stacked in that end range position. I'm going to do a couple more just here. And then just 2 more. And then last one here. Then I'm going to change around onto the other side. And just take your time with these. Make sure that you're able to control them with your ribs and that you're not just pushing everything through your shoulder. Oops. A bit tighter space. And then round we go. And just try and stay, we talked about this earlier, but just try and stay as relaxed as you possibly can, relaxed and heavy. Okay. And then last one there. Make sure the knees stay stacked. Okay, next up, 1 knee forward, 1 knee back. Place the hand on the floor next to the front foot. And all we're going to do is reach up to the sky. Okay, so reaching. We're trying to get as tall as you can and create as much length as you can. Make sure the foot is pushing, the whole foot is pushing to the floor. You're not coming to the outside, okay? And reaching and turning. Then we're going to drop the hand behind the ear and then reach the elbow down to the floor. So reaching down to the floor. Again, make sure that you're inside of your foot and the outside, so the whole foot is pressing against the floor. Then we're going to reach back up. And then we're going to come back down. So this exercise sort of ties together a lot of what we've been doing today. And then up. Make sure that knee doesn't drop out to the side, so you get all that length through the back. And then we're going to reach up. And then last one. Come down. Okay, switching around to the other side, left foot forward, right hand on the floor. We're going to take that left hand up to the sky and reach up as much as we can. Nice stretch there. And then we're going to come down. So make sure the knee is not dropping out to the side, you're not falling onto the outside of the foot. Reaching up. And then we're going to come back down again. And then we're going to reach back up. And down. want to be, it's on a sort of diagonal, push the hand into the floor, and then just take some breaths here. So really nice, thread the needle, but a really active one. And then just take some nice long inhales in. And last one here. As you take that inhale, just push really hard through the hand. Okay, and off we go. And last one there. And then we're just going to slowly sit back, sitting bones as high as you can. And just come back into little child's pose here. And then we're going to place the elbows on the floor, hands to the sky. Sitting bones up nice and high, long spine. And then we're just going to do 10 long, slow breaths. Okay, and always think about that pelvic floor, breathing into that pelvic floor. Stay long on the spine in the exhale. And a really nice long exhale out. And well done. Now with those exercises, you can basically do that whole series again, or you could just take little extracts out of things that felt good and then just keep working through those. The roll down one I often do in the morning, and often I can get a lot out of that one first thing, that my butt spine is usually very stiff. But think about it as you want to think of ribs and pelvis and spine, they all come together.